Well, it's been rather interesting here in the last few days. The Strait of Hormuz, Iran is declaring, is closed again. The United States military has launched a new round of strikes against Iranian targets near the Strait of Hormuz Saturday in response to an IRGC missile attack that left a commercial cargo ship badly damaged. Kristen Welker over there on Meet the Press. Give me number 84, if you would, please, Aaron, to get this started. Talking with President Trump yesterday about a litany of different issues, but this came up, and President Trump quickly shutting her down on the misinformation. Take a listen.
You obviously launched a fresh round of strikes overnight. Iran said overnight the Strait of Hormuz is closed. CENTCOM came out this morning and said the Strait of Hormuz is open. Which is it, Mr. President, and how are you going to respond?
And I don't want to talk about it because I want to honor the life of Lindsey Graham, so I don't want to talk about it. I told you that before the call.
Yeah.
It's open. We bombed the hell out of them last night. They're very, very evil and sick people. We had meetings with them for the last, they agreed to a deal yesterday, a perfect deal for us. No nuclear, no this, no that, no nothing. They gave up everything. And then after that, they left the room. And then within an hour, they launched a drone at a ship. I said, you people are sick. You're sick people. And so it's one of those things. I don't want to talk about it.
Finally, before I let you go.
I want to talk about one person today, Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, and then a little later, Mike Walls, the UN ambassador for the Trump administration, and number 93 here, if you would please, Aaron. Mike Walls confirms that Iran is, in fact, going to face major consequences for attacking the Strait. They have already, and they will continue to, according to Walls. Take a listen.
Shipping, if you don't get your way, you can't hold the world's economy hostage. The president's not going to stand for it. And he made that very clear. There'll be consequences if Iran continues to not only violate the deal, but as I said, international law. Meanwhile, Maria, it's worth noting that technical negotiations around the nuclear program, President Trump has always been most focused on that, are continuing in terms of inspections, in terms of what to do with the highly enriched uranium, the enrichment program. Those pieces are continuing, but we are not going to stand for these attacks on civilian ships. The President Trump has hit back. He's hit back proportionally. But at the end of the day, Iran is going to pay the price.
Yeah, and the president is threatening consequences should the Strait of Hormuz not be open. There seems to be a struggle over the Strait of Hormuz becoming the number one flashpoint here. Is it open or not?
Oh, it's open, as Central Command has said, and most of the targets that we've hit the last several nights have been directly aimed at Iran's radars, sensors, drones, and missile batteries right there on the Strait to eliminate and degrade their ability to attack the global economy. So we're going to take that leverage off the table. Our great
Yeah, and this morning, as I read this, as we're going live, Iran has also overnight struck U.S. military sites in Bahrain, Oman, Jordan, and Kuwait, to which U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth wrote online, Iran made a poor choice. Now they pay. So this only looks to escalate, and it's pretty obvious why. President Trump is hitting Iran for a very simple reason. The Iranian regime is a sworn mortal enemy of the United States. And history shows you just simply can't negotiate ultimately with mortal enemies. You have to crush them. Nazi Germany didn't turn peaceful after a nice conversation. Neither did Imperial Japan. They didn't stop until their government was destroyed and its military was broken. When you're dealing with an ideology that is driven by lunatic fanaticism, regimes that want you dead, the fighting only comes to a conclusion when one side forces the other to surrender unconditionally. In Iran, unfortunately, happens to be that kind of regime. They chant death to America in the street and in their parliament. They bankroll terrorism all over the Middle East. They kill Americans through their proxies. Israeli intelligence just picked up a specific plot, a real plot, to assassinate President Trump. Like Hitler, These people see compromise as weakness. They don't want any kind of deal. They want to win, period, full stop. Neville Chamberlain in the UK tried the peace route with Hitler, and we all know how that turned out. It only made the war worse, ultimately. The late, great Rush Limbaugh, I remember he used to say, what he called the Limbaugh Middle East peace plan. Rush put it plain and simply: the only way some form of quiet will ever exist is if Israel is given the latitude to totally defeat its declared enemies. Perpetual negotiations, diplomatic half measures, or land for peace deals. That's never going to bring peace. Rush Limbaugh was right about that back then, and he's right today. The same principle applies today as it did back then. You don't reason with rabid animals. You put them down. And that's why President Trump's response has been and continues to be the correct one. It isn't about an endless war. It's about ending the threat. You hit their ability to attack ships in the Strait of Hormuz. You take out air defenses, missiles, drones, naval bases. Make it crystal clear that threatening American lives, threatening American ships, or threatening the American president, more specifically, that's going to come with a brutal price. And only after this regime is broken does a decent Iran even have a chance. The Iranian people deserve better than the mullahs who currently run that operation. The free world deserves better than a weaponized theocracy that openly calls for our destruction. Now, there are many who still want more talks, more envoys, more hope that the next meeting will finally work. History, like Rush Limbaugh, say otherwise. Evil regimes that call you the great Satan don't suddenly become reasonable. They stop when they're forced to stop. And Trump gets this. He's not interested in photo ops and empty arguments. He wants results. When a regime plots to kill the president of the United States, the only proper answer is overwhelming strength. And that's not warmongering. That's realism. That's leadership. And that's why President Trump's response to Iran is the right one.